Gamers, how's it going? Today we're going to be talking about what just got me to master rank. So we're talking about Drytron, and let me just say it's actually pretty good. I still think it's rogue. I don't think it's that great. I was doing pretty bad on stream with it, but you know, when I get off stream and I actually focus and don't make nearly as many misplays, it can do pretty good. I got on like a 7-game win streak to get to master rank, and I will say it got easier with this deck the closer I got to master rank, just because I was facing more Tenpai. So I do feel like if you get to go first often, Drytron is really solid. But overall, it's really nice to see some new support for a deck that hasn't really been all that playable for quite a long time, actually. So now that Drytron got new support, you're no longer going to be running the Herald variant of the deck, which is actually why I was interested. Now the deck is a lot more mid-rangey. The reason for that is because new 2 locks you into only being able to ritual summon machine monsters the turn that it's activated. And this card is so valuable for Drytron to help with its consistency and also help with extending your plays, that you really can't not run it, you know? So because of that, we are going to be playing like a pure variant. This card can basically special summon itself from hand or grave if you control any Drytron card. That includes your Drytron field spell, by the way, and on summon is going to search any Drytron monster. So again, just an insanely good consistency boost for the deck, and it really helps you. There's also the fact that if you can land any 2 level 1 monsters on the field, you can get into your Mew Beta Fafnir, and then this can just send the Drytron New 2 to the grave. Since you control a Drytron on the field, you can summon the New 2. New 2 can search whichever one you need, you know, to get your combo going. And from there, you can basically go and pop off full combo. So it's a huge enabler for the deck, extremely important. But it does result in the deck getting a bit more mid-rangey. The other new support that we have for Drytron is Meteonis DA Draconids. This is 2 monster negates. Basically, like, you can banish monsters from your grave that have higher attack total than what your opponent is activating. Basically, man, I explained that so poorly. Basically, let's say they activate a monster with 1000 attack, you can banish a Drytron monster with like 2000 attack to negate it. But if they activate a monster with 2500 attack, then, you know, 2000 attack won't cut it. You'll need to banish 2 monsters or 1 monster with like 4000 attack, for example. But yeah, so it's like a really good card, and actually the negates are not hard twice per turns. So there's a cool trick where you can go like IP Masquerena. After you use the 2 negates, you just link it away to make a Dynamondo. You can bounce with Dynamondo, shuffling back the Ben 10, and then Dynamondo can summon back your Meteonis DA Draconids, and it gets back its 2 monster negates. So you can turn this into like 4 really good monster negates. It also destroys after it negates, so that's very useful as well. So this is basically what the deck revolves around. The end goal for my build in particular is to set up a secret village of the spellcasters with IP on top. We want Ib, the World Chalice Priestess. Basically, this is our spellcaster. It's pretty good because while IP is pointing at it, this card can't be destroyed by battle, it can't be destroyed by card effects, and it can't be targeted. So that means your opponent can't even like imperm the Ib to then go to battle phase and beat over it. So it becomes really hard for your opponent to deal with. And a lot of the time, your opponent is a Tenpai player with a lot of spells in hand, and they just won't be able to activate them. So yeah, it's a little mean, I guess. You know, it's a little degenerate. But the other builds I've seen are even more degenerate, and I'm not doing that stuff. Like, I've seen a lot of people run Vanity's Ruler and a lot of this stuff. So that's not really what I'm going for. I don't think that's bad by any means, by the way. It's just not really to my taste. I didn't want to have too many goofy one-ofs in the deck, you know, because I'm really focused on having like a package that can deal with like the popular hand traps that do like completely murder us. But yeah, with that being said, you know, there's a lot to cover in this video. I have a couple of replays, you know, different situations. I have like full combo. I have, you know, a grind game playing against Tenpai, stuff like that, playing into Maxx. And yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting. I'm also probably gonna do like a solo mode combo guide thing for your main 1-card combo with like either Fafnir or Drytron Nova, and then we're probably gonna do a card by card at the end. So don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff helps tremendously. I know it's weird to see me like happy about Drytron after so many years of hating on it, but genuinely this new playstyle pleases me greatly. I actually think it's really fun. The combos are a lot shorter. The deck feels a lot more mid-rangey, a lot more my style. So anyway, let's get into it. So first off here, the reason I'm probably gonna have to go to solo mode later is because here's what a lot of my replays look like. You know, I'm gonna go for Thubin here. They're gonna go for Ash Blossom. I'm gonna call by the Ash Blossom because I really needed that Thubin to resolve, to summon on field. We're gonna grab Ben 10, you know, special out the Bright Knight, sorry. They're gonna go for Gamma, negating and popping. We get Aldiba, summon Aldiba, search Meteonis Drytron, and they just scoop it up, right? That, like, a lot of the time, if you can play, your opponent just kind of doesn't want to stick around. So yeah, we're definitely gonna have to go to solo mode later, but I do have a lot of good replays, so let's move on to the next one. This next replay is actually pretty funny. This is more so a replay meant to show you what to do into Maxx, and not just Maxx, actually what to do into Fuwalos. Then, you know, I went for my Altais. Actually, it's into Fuwalos and Purulia. So yeah, that's pretty, actually it's into Fuwalos and Purulia and Maxx. So what do you do into this? You know, you can already assume it's Tenpai if they're running all three of these cards. By the way, good job Konami on making a really well-balanced game. But yeah, here I summon Altais, they get 2 draws. I summon the new 2 from the grave, they get 1 draw. I use these 2 to go into Kiki Fucho, they get 2 more draws. So they drew a total of 5 times for me to summon a Kiki Nagashi Fucho. But I just want to tell you guys, this card has won me, unironically, like maybe like 5 duels, or maybe even more in my run to Master. This card is goofy, but there's so many people playing Tenpai, and they almost never have an out for this card. So it's unaffected by other card effects, like just blanket unaffected. And then once per turn, you can detach 2 materials from this card for the rest of this turn. It can't be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage from attacks involving this card. So even if they had piercing or something, it still wouldn't be destroyed. So now you can just watch a Tenpai player struggle to figure out what to do against a Fucho, right? So they go Dora Dora, grab the Genroku. I'm going to go Maxx here, get a free draw. I'm going to detach the 2 materials so that they can't beat over it. They're pretty smart here. They played patient. They're like, you know, this is not even worth my time. I'm just going to go Hieratic Seal here. But it's already too late. If I get, you know, turn 3 to go full combo, it's going to be nice. So, you know, we go for Thubin, you know, search our Ben 10. They're going to use their Hieratic Seal, clearing their field so that they can activate their Molcharmy Purulia. But, yeah, that's not really going to be an issue for us at all. They're going to go for the Graveyard effect of Hieratic Seal. We're going to go for our own Maxx. They're going to chain their Bestial Magnamut. Let's fast forward a little bit here. Banishing, you know, our new 2 in the grave. It is what it is. We drew into Aldiba. So we can summon out the new 2 with the Drytron Nova. New 2 can search our ultimate Bright Knight. We go for Eltonin, summon 2. Use these 2 to go into IP Masquerena. Activate the Graveyard effect of Aldiba using the Ben 10, summon it. Aldiba searches the Drytron Meteonis, and then we can go for Ben 10, search the Diviner of the Herald. Then I go into a Relinquished Anima. Using these 2, I go into a Ib the World Chalice Priestess. The whole point of this was just to make a big access code talker so I can, like, clear stuff, you know, just to deal with the board and be able to go for lethal really quick here. So we pop that. We summon out the Diviner. Diviner sent to the grave a Herald of the Arclight. Herald of the Arclight, search a Drytron Meteonis. Then we're going to, you know, summon out the Altais, get some more searching done here. This was back when I was still running Cyber Emergency. I ended up removing that after. Then I'm going to go for a Meteonis Drytron to get some monster negates on the field. Activate access code, you know, pop the Bestial, and they're just going to scoop it up. But, yeah. So, yeah, you know, I got hit by Maxx, all that stuff, but, you know, that bird really did carry. Anyway, I just thought that was pretty funny. We're going to move on here. I have one where it's more like going full combo. All right, so this next one here is really as full combo as it gets. This is not even going to be like a standard line. This is really like we had so many of the tools that we needed already in hand to get full combo that we get to go like further beyond. So you're probably not going to be getting this board very often, but I still wanted to show this one just to show like a perfect situation. What do you get? What's the absolute full combo, right? So anyway, I'm going to Ash this Purulia, and I'm just praying they don't have another thing, you know. And then we're going to go and tribute Ben 10 with our Aldiba, searching a Meteonis Drytron. Ben 10 can search our Diviner. We're going to go for Thubin, sending Thubin to the grave. Thubin is going to search a DA Draconoids. With these 2, we can go into Drytron Mu Beta Fafnir, send the Mewtwo to the grave. Mewtwo can summon itself from the grave since we control a Drytron, and then it can search our ultimate Bright Knight. So we're going to go for special ultimate Bright Knight from the hand since we control a Drytron. Search for Fafnir. Fafnir is going to search our Drytron Nova since we already have Meteonis in hand. Drytron Nova can then summon Eltonin from the deck. We're going to normal summon our Diviner since we did not normal summon yet. Diviner can send to the grave a Herald of the Arclight. With Herald of the Arclight, I can grab the Meteonis Draconids. Then with those two, we can make ourselves a level 7 Synchro. We're going to go into Ancient Fairy Dragon. Pop our field spell to grab a Secret Village of the Spellcasters. With these two here, we're going to go into an IP Masquerena. Trigger Eltonin in the grave, tributing the Draconoids in hand, summoning 2 level 1s from the grave, going into a Relinquished Anima. This Anima is just to make our Ib because we need 2 monsters with different attributes and types. Then we're going to go for Meteonis Drytron, and I get to leave a material on my Fafnir. So this is where it changes, basically. Normally, you really wouldn't get to do this. You wouldn't get to keep a material on your Fafnir if you went for your Draconoids, like for your typical line. But because we had so much gas here, we actually got to do this. So we have a spell and trap negate with the Fafnir on top of our 2 monster negates, on top of our IP. And of course, we're going to get our Secret Village as well. So here I'm going to add back the Meteonis Drytron to my hand, make myself an Ib, the World Chalice Priestess, and activate Secret Village. Here I realize now that I kind of made a mistake. I should have made Ib using the Drytron Eltonin and the Relinquished Anima. If I left my Ancient Fairy Dragon on the field, just in case it got back to me on turn 3, I'd be able to go like, Ancient Fairy Dragon, pop the Secret Village of the Spellcasters, and, grab a Fafnir to keep extending my plays. But yeah, other than that, this is as good as it gets. Like, these interruptions are crazy. First of all, they can't use any spells. This card is indestructible, untargetable by card effects, so they can't even impermit. They're kind of just, they have to contend with it. If they want to go to battle phase with like their normal summon and beat over IP Masquerena, that's fine. But until they do that, they won't be able to beat over the Ib. We also have like 2 monster negates here, and they have to contend with that. We have a spell and trap negate, so even if they had like evenly, they wouldn't be able to do that either. It's really looking rough from our opponents. They're going for a Chundra in hand here. We're just going to negate the Chundra, and they're going to scoop it up. But yeah, that's about as good as it can get for this deck. This is just a crazy replay. I think that's going to be it for looking at replays. Let me take you to solo mode to show you the typical 1-card line. All right, so our 1-card combo in this deck is using Drytron Nova. You can also search Drytron Nova with the field spell. So you basically have 6 copies if you're using my build of this 1-card combo. And this 1-card combo is not the full combo, by the way. So we're going to ignore what we already have in hand. So I'm going to activate Maxx just to get it out of my hand because I don't want it to ask me the whole duel, like the whole time, right? I'm going to do the same for Fuwalos, just get it out of my hand. And we're not going to use these 2 cards in hand. We're only going to use Nova. So keep in mind, if you use these, you'd be able to extend into the complete combo with the Village of the Spellcasters and everything. But just so you're accustomed to the deck, I want to make sure that, you get your 101 Drytron tutorial in here. So starting off, you want to summon the Mewtwo with the Drytron Nova, and then you can go for Mewtwo effect. Mewtwo is going to add to hand the Thuban, so you go for Thuban here. Then you go Thuban, tribute the Mewtwo. Again, we're ignoring what we have here. Add our Ben 10 to the hand. Then you can go for Mewtwo effect in the grave, summon it back. So we go for, not Eltonin, sorry, I meant Fafnir. So we go for our XCs, basically. Then you go for your Mew Beta Fafnir. You're going to send to the grave a copy of Zeta. Zeta is going to activate here. And you're going to tribute your Ben 10 that you searched. Summon the Zeta. Zeta can add to the hand a Meteonis Drytron. Then Ben 10 is going to trigger. Ben 10 can add to the hand a Diviner of the Herald. You're going to go for Diviner effect. Send the Herald of the Arclight to the grave. Herald of the Arclight is going to add to your hand the DA Draconis. Very good. You're going to go for Meteonis Drytron. Using basically the 2 material. Well, you just use all of Beta Fafnir. So you click Beta Fafnir, use one of the materials on it, click it again. Use one of the materials on it, click it again. Just use all of it, basically, right? So you can use it as a full material for this guy. This guy is 2 monster negates, so we're going to summon him right over here. in defense position to play around, you know, a potential board breaker. And then in the grave, you know, you can go for Meteonis Drytron added back to hand by removing some attack from your Aldiba. And then here, basically, you get the choice between either a Spell and Trap Negate, or you can go for IP Masquerena, which then allows you to go Dynamondo and Recycle. So you can choose between having 4 Monster Negates and a Bounce, or 2 Monster Negates and a Spell and Trap Negate. Me personally, if I was in this scenario, I'd probably pick the IP Masquerena, just because, like, the idea of having 4 Monster Negates and then being able to also bounce a card, that's like 5 interruptions, right? I think 5 is better than 3, basically. So that's the basic gist of the 1-card combo. And now I'm going to take you again into solo mode, and I'm just going to try to go full gas, set up the full board just to get you even more accustomed to the cards, because this deck might seem like a lot. I will say though, like, it took me maybe 15 minutes to figure out these combos. This deck is a lot easier to play than it looks. I will say that. All right, this hand is pretty goofy, but it's got a lot of gas, so we should be able to do everything we want to do here. We're going to start off with a Mew Beta Fafnir. I like doing this as just a way to bait out an Ash, because, like, for example, here, I wouldn't be able to summon my Zeta if they Ashed it. And also, if they Ash this, or even if they Ash the Zeta, and I get, like, Mewtwo in the grave, just controlling the field spell, I'd be able to at least summon it and get a search. But yeah, so here we would definitely search the Nova, because we'll be able to search our ritual spell with Zeta. Here I'm going to activate Zeta, sending the Mewtwo to the grave. Get the Zeta on the field, add the Meteonis Drytron to the hand, then we can go for Mewtwo. So Mewtwo summons. Now, normally with Mewtwo, I'm searching for Ultimate Bright Knight. This card can special summon itself from the hand and search your field spell, but we already have the field spell. Well, it can search any of your spells, really, so if you don't get access to Zeta, this often is a good way to, like, get access to either your Nova or your Meteonis Drytron or your Drytron Fafnir. But here we obviously don't need that, so I'm just going to grab a Thubin, you know, and keep it simple. So grab a Thubin here. We're going to go for Thubin. Send one of our random names that we have in hand that are no longer really useful. Yep. Add the Ben 10 to the hand. Going to go ahead and make ourselves a Mew Beta Fafnir, using you as well as you. And then Mew Beta Fafnir, I'm going to send the Eltanin to the grave to get, like, more bodies on the field. Eltanin special summons itself in a level 1 from grave, and we have a Mewtwo in grave right now, so that's a good thing to do. This deck is not very linear in a way. Like, a lot of your hands you're going to have to combo differently, so I can't really cover everything here. So definitely just, you know, mess with the deck in solo mode. You'll see it's actually pretty damn straightforward. It looks more complicated than it actually is. It kind of plays itself in a lot of ways. There's just, like, certain checkpoints you need. Like, you want your Ben 10 so that, you know, when you tribute it, you get to grab your Diviner, because this is the only normal summon you're really going to use. You know, stuff like that. So there's a lot of, like, important checkpoints. You want to get your Zeta effect or your Bright Knight, so to make sure that you can get your Meteonis Drytron to be able to ritual summon later in your turn. You want access to Drytron Nova for the extra body that gives you, you know, stuff like that. Here we're going to go for Diviner of the Herald. Diviner, send to the grave a Herald of the Arclight, and we can activate Herald and search our Draconoids. Very good, very good. At this point, I am going to make myself an IP Masquerena to make myself some more space. Doesn't really matter which ones I use here. Just want to get some more space on the field so that I can use my Drytron Nova and get value from it later. So here I'm going to go for the Altais. Altais can reveal a ritual monster or a ritual spell in your hand to get you a draw. So here basically we're going to go and make ourselves a Fairy Dragon using the Altais to get it in the graveyard. And again, like, these names, which names you summon when is really going to depend on your hand most of the time. So at this point, for example, you know, I would go Altais, tributing the ritual we have in hand, since our ritual spell can summon it from the grave. And then we can show the Meteonis Drytron in hand, get a free draw. That's a really good draw. If you see this, it means you actually get to keep a negate on your XCs, like I showed you earlier in the replay. So that's kind of crazy. That's kind of insane here. Okay, so we're gonna go for Fairy Dragon. Fairy Dragon, pop the field spell, get to add the Secret Village to our hand here. Damn, this is actually insane. You know, could have probably done this first, but whatever. We're gonna go for Meteonis Drytron now, and we're gonna summon out the Draconoids using one material from our Fafnir. We're gonna use the Mewtwo. We're going to use then the Draconids in hand. Draconids, I mean, sorry, I'm bad with the names in this archetype. And we're going to put this in defense to play around a certain spell. Let's say they were to deal with our secret village. Then basically, you know, you can make yourself a relinquished anima using one of your level 1s. In this case, the one that IP is pointing to, obviously. And then, like I said earlier, you basically go into your IB using the level 1 here as well as the anima. IB is being pointed to right now, so that means that IB cannot be targeted. It can't be destroyed by card effects. It can't be destroyed by battle. It's really, really hard to deal with, and that's going to suck for the opponent because we have Secret Village of the Spellcasters. So this is like turbo best combo you can get with this deck. You have a spell negate, you have 2 monster negates, then a bounce, then 2 more monster negates, and they can't use any spells. It's insane into Tenpai. Not as good as into like certain other decks. And also, since we have our Draconids in defense position, you don't really lose anything by adding back your Meteonis Drytron. And if you wanted to, instead of the spell and trap negate, you could summon the Draconids here to get the quick effect pop 1 or 2. That's really going to be up to you, I guess. Personally, I would definitely just keep this because being able to negate a trap when we have this face up is pretty insane. So yeah, this is as good as the deck gets. Really, it's as crazy as the combo can get. I think it's a really, really solid combo. Obviously, a little bit degenerate, but again, into Fuwalos, Maxi, friggin' Purulia format, I don't feel bad about anything. So moving on to the card by card. All right, so here we are. Closing thoughts. I still think this deck is just rogue. Don't get me wrong. You know, I've been gassing it up a lot this video because I had a good time getting to master with it. And I think it plays really well into a format where you go first very often. And obviously, setting up the Secret Village into Tenpai is insane. It's so good. But, you know, there's some massive downsides. I can't emphasize enough how you're going to get some really awkward hands, and I don't think that's my build. I think that's just the reality of Drytron. You know, there's a lot of 2 cards combos in this deck that, you know, are very dependent on having good Drytron names in your hand. So, you know, sometimes you're going to see, for example, like an Altais and like, I don't know, a Bright Knight in hand and then like a couple staples, and you're just not going to be feeling too good about it. That being said, let's get into the card by card. So we have the 1 copy of Droll and Lockbird for the crossout. This is mostly just because Droll completely destroys our deck. 3 copies of Thuban, 1 copy of Rastaban. I didn't really talk about this one, but basically this one, like all the others, tributes a Drytron or a ritual from hand to special summon itself from hand or grave. And then what it does is it returns a banished Drytron to the graveyard. Definitely comes up, and this has actually come up for me in a matchup into Dimensional Fissure, and I felt pretty skillful about it. So definitely the least important of the gang, but you still want a copy of it. 3 copies of Eltonin, because this one gets you those extra bodies, which enables, you know, going like wombo combo, setting up the village of the spellcasters and all that stuff. You need bodies to be able to do that. So the fact that this one's effect gets you 2 bodies on the field is really important. 3 copies of Zeta, because this is one of the more like consistency cards. You know, searching your ritual spell is still really important for your combo, even though it's not the most valuable search in your combo. It is very important. 2 copies of Altais. This one, you know, you need to already have a ritual or a ritual spell in hand, but it will get you a draw on summon if you have one of those in hand. So it's a nice extender if you don't need to go for a Zeta because you already have ritual spell or scenarios like that. 3 copies of Mewtwo. This is an extender while you control a Drytron. Search as a monster. Insane consistency card. Anytime you get 2 level 1s on the field, you're almost always sending Mewtwo to the grave, summoning it back, and then getting to trigger it thanks to the Beta Fafnir. So yeah, Mewtwo is an amazing card. 3 copies of Maxi. We're only running 1 Diviner in this deck. A lot of people were asking me questions about this in when I was streaming with the deck. Basically, this is not a starter in our deck, as you guys saw from the combos. It really just ends your combo. Just the fact that we're playing a non-Herald version of the deck means that you can't really capitalize on Diviner in the same way that you could, you know, running 3 of it in a Herald version of the deck. So, you know, in pure, Diviner is really just meant to close out your combo and send that Herald for that 1 extra search, and it's just a way to use your normal summon. So definitely not something you want to see multiples of. In fact, you never really want to see this in hand at the start of your turn. 3 copies of Ash Blossom, because we got to negate Maxi and Purulia and Fuwalos. 1 copy of Fuwalos for the crossout, because Fuwalos is rough against our deck. 1 copy of Ursartron, sorry, Alpha. This card kind of can serve the purpose of Zeta. So oftentimes when you summon Mewtwo, if you have a lot of like Drytron names, you're actually searching this one because it just special summons itself for free without tributing, and then it searches your field spell. So this is actually a really, really good card, but similar to Mewtwo, you need to already control a Drytron, and unlike Mewtwo, you can't send this one to the grave. So this one basically has no value in the grave, which is why I wouldn't run more than one of it. One copy of Cyber Angel Benten, just to search the Diviner, basically. We got our one Draconids. This is, you know, it's not amazing, but it does come up. It's a quick effect, pop 1 or 2, and it can attack all special summon monsters your opponent controls. Also, your opponent can't target it with card effects. It's a pretty good going second card. It's definitely come up for me. And also, when Draconoids is destroyed by card effect or by battle, you get to special summon it for free, and it's treated as a ritual summon, so that's really, really good. Then obviously this one is just a must play. It's your new boss monster. It's a really good boss monster. 2 to 4 monster negates depending how you set up your turn. It's just really good. The 1-for-1 is basically another copy of Drytron Nova. You know, discard a monster, summon the Mewtwo, and pop off like crazy. Drytron Nova is a consistency card, and it's a like 1-card combo, so absolutely a must run at 3. In fact, I'm running it at 6 by running 3 copies of the field spell. Not a lot of people are doing this, but I just feel like, you know, since this is like one of the few cards in the deck where you see it and you're like, okay, regardless of all the other cards in my hand, I have a combo. For that reason, I decided to run 3 of the field spell because I really want to see Nova as often as possible. The Secret Village is the payoff if we can go full combo. Drytron Meteonis is, you know, a ritual spell. 2 copies of Call By, 1 copy of Crossout, triple Imperm. I mean, those go kind of without saying. We have the Entis here. This is kind of a flex spot. We'll talk about that after I cover the rest of the extra deck. 1 copy of Herald of the Arclight as an important searcher. Ancient Fairy Dragon, you know, to again search for Secret Village by popping the Fafnir. Then we have the FA Dawn Dragster. So FA Dawn Dragster is if you can't get full combo, but you have access to, you know, your level 1 plus your level 6 Diviner, then you can go at least into like Dawn Dragster. It's definitely come up for me, so I like having it. Fucho won me a bunch of games. This card is for some reason crazy into Tempai. They never have an out for it, so I guess run Fucho. 2 copies of Mew Beta Fafnir. This card's extremely important, and you really do need to, honestly, like you really, really do. Downer Magician is just a no-brainer for this deck to be able to get those nice 4 material Zeus. Zeus obviously also a no-brainer. We have the Anima. Again, this is basically just to be able to have a monster that we can use as material for the Ib, the World Chalice Priestess, because this one takes 2 monsters with different types and attributes. Then we have Ib to basically enable our Secret Village, and it's really hard to out. IP Masquerena, Dynamondo is crazy in this deck. SP is a no-brainer, and we have access code Talker. So just quickly here, Entis is definitely just a flex spot. We're not running a lot of Diviners. It has come up for me to go Entis going second to help clear the board when I didn't really feel like I needed the Herald, because I wasn't going to set up the, you know, Village of the Spellcaster. I was just trying to go for game with my massive ritual monsters and my access code. So it has come up for me to have Entis, but there's a couple of cards you could replace Entis with. So one of them would be Appaloosa. The reason I'm not running Appaloosa is because, honestly, like, this card basically does the same job but better, and a lot of the time if you decide to go for Appaloosa, you're kind of foregoing your combo that you built your deck around. So that's why I ended up not running it. Another one that I really like is Gravity Controller. This one is a kind of nice plan B if you can't set up your IP Masquerena above your Ib. You could always summon the Ancient Fairy Dragon in the extra monster zone and then make Gravity Controller with it. And then Gravity Controller is going to be able to basically point to a zone that Ib is in, so that Ib is protected, gets all its effects, and makes it really hard to out for Secret Village of the Spellcasters. It's a pretty good plan B, and I was playing it at first and I liked it, but I ended up removing it because it didn't come up super often, and I replaced it with Elder Entity Entis. There's a bunch of other cards you could be running, but this is really your flex spot. I would say the rest of the extra deck feels like really, really important to me, and I wouldn't really remove anything else in the extra deck, but this one is more so up to you, I would say. Anyway, that about wraps it up. Honestly, I feel like I yapped a lot in this video, but hopefully the video was useful. Honestly, it's kind of hard to talk about Drytron just because it's not very linear. Like a lot of the time you end up searching Bright Knight for, your field spell, for example. I don't even think I showed that in this video because it just didn't come up. It's very hand dependent, the path that you take in Drytron. So again, I do recommend if you build this, go practice it a little bit in solo mode. You'll see it's very intuitive actually. But yeah, that's about it for me. All right, see ya.